first and foremost, thanks for doing this.
Of course.
I appreciate it. It's always good to see you. So this class is really just a class about cliff jumping. It's they study 4 tracks, recording, production, publishing, and me, which is whatever the fuck this is, entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And so my take on this is bringing, I bring some of my own to it, and then I try to bring the other disciplines, the other interesting people, and then some people who may or may not be directly involved in music but have really great entrepreneurial stories.
Okay.
And you have kind of a mixture of all of this.
Yeah.
And so what I'd love to do is, I'm a big believer in, and by the way, they will interrupt. They're encouraged to. It's a no bullshit zone. All those things.
Love it.
But where I like to start is way back, because I think where you come from informs kind of how you operate in the world, right? We come up in an environment and we watch those folks around us, and then that somewhere in that kind of early continuum, you get bit by the music bug. So I want to kind of start there.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of we'll get you closer to today, and then we'll get you to today, and then when we're done, we'll let them ask whatever they want to ask. The one other thing we do is I always ask people who come and speak if they're willing to let me give your email address out so that they can contact you separately.
Of course.
Because as you know, the network is the whole thing.
That is the game.
That is the game. So let's go back in time to young John.
Oh man.
And a little bit about where you're from and mom and dad, and then where music got hold of you.
So I'm probably the biggest unicorn you'll ever meet. I grew up in Nashville, right down the street. Went to high school at Montgomery Bell Academy, which is about 2 miles down Woodmont. My dad was a lawyer. My mom stayed at home. He was labor and employment lawyer. Had 3 older sisters. I was super athletic growing up. Played 3 sports. Played football, basketball, pole vaulting. Actually went to the University of Georgia to pole vault.
Since I did not know about you.
Which
What was your PR?
was my PR. I actually was a Tennessee State record holder.
Oh, okay, sir.
Yes, so I jumped 16.3 right before I went to University of Georgia, and then I probably would have placed 3rd in the SEC as a freshman.
Yeah.
But I got to that's a great way to get into the story. I worked my butt off at it. Like I spent summers at 6 a.m. driving my Jeep with a pole attached to the top. So Franklin Road Academy, we're out of here and pole vaulted for 2 hours, and then went to work and taught gymnastics, little kids gymnastics, so I could work with my coach during the day, climbing rope backwards, upside down, doing all that. Went to Georgia, first day at the track, was like 5 a.m. I was like, forget this, I'm done. I'm burned out. Had always loved music. My parents love music. My dad plays a little bit, but not really. Love John Denver, which ironically I am now the publisher of John Denver, which my parents think is the coolest thing in the world.
Yep.
Got to University of Georgia, majored in English because I thought if I could learn to read and write really well, I could figure anything out. Played in bands through Athens, Georgia, an incredible music town there. Graduated, thought I was going to go to law school, but was just too immature to take the LSAT. So
hold on, I want to back up for a minute. You went to college way too fast. So back up to when you were doing so much of the sports thing. Was music in there? Were you playing? Were you doing anything? Were you?
Music was everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I was the guy that drove a Jeep that had a Grateful Dead sticker on my.
Oh, you're a Deadhead too.
I love the Dead.
Okay.
Not many people know that.
I did not know. Like I'm
love
learning
Fish, love Widespread Panic, love REM. Yeah, that's
REM,
the stuff I really loved. Never really liked country music, and I grew up here, but I had no idea.
You grew up here. That's why you.
Well, I had no idea there was a music business here. No clue. Had no idea.
That's in this location.
Well, you got to remember, this was 35 years ago, and Nashville has changed like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I knew there was a Hank Williams Jr. souvenir store on Delumbrian, but that was about it. So yeah, I didn't grow up in it. I had no idea.
Peck, come on. You okay?
No, yeah, I was looking for my
So you're enveloped in it, but you're thinking about your track was really a different.
That was it. I mean, football, basketball, I was always really competitive. I wasn't a great athlete. I just don't like to lose. I mean, they would kind of laugh at like our track team, like it was close in the 4x400, put an Ozier in because we're not
Mhm.
going to lose. We're not very fast, but it's hard to beat us.
Yeah.
So I've always had that in me.
Yeah.
Which probably led to why I made a crazy career decision.
Yep.
So yeah, that was just always a part of it. The music was always a part of it. I mean, I can remember writing songs when I was 8, 10, 12 years old.
And so it's in there, and you get to college, and literally first day on the track, you're like, fuck this, I'm out.
Fuck this, I've burned out. Let's go party and listen to music.
and
That's what I did.
Did you do any dead following? Did you follow the band around at all?
I went to numerous Widespread Panic shows because they were formed in Athens, Georgia, and they would always drop in and do amazing shows. Georgia Theater there is one of the best venues in the country. They had incredible lineups. Like Great Bluegrass, Leftover Salmon was another group I loved. I mean, I liked all the college bands for when I was in college.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really till I dipped my foot into the business that I really found a passion for songwriting. Like some of the Grateful Dead lyrics, always my middle sister kind of turned me on to Robert Hunter, and I always kind of loved them, reading them at like poetry, but had no clue you could make a living doing it.
Yeah. So you're in school, you're doing that, you're out of the sports side, and you're majoring in English.
Majoring in English.
Did you were you on the 4-year plan or the 5-year plan?
4-year plan? I did well in
Congratulations.
school.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to a really good.
Well,
high
you like to
school.
win.
I like to win. I mean, they would announce honor roll and I would be on it. People were like, "What? You don't even go to class." In fact, my favorite story, I went to the first day in my statistics class because I placed out of math in Georgia.
Yeah.
But I had to take one statistics class. I showed up the first day, and then I showed up and took the final exam, and I got an 89.44. And I went to the teacher, and I was like, "Come on, you could round me up 0.01 to get me to an 89.5, or round me up to get me to a 90 to get me an A." She was like, "I've never seen you before." I was like, "Fair enough." Fair enough. I get it. So that was one of the few B's I got.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, you don't like to lose.
I don't like to lose, and I work hard.
Yeah.
I'd study really hard the night before.
So you're out the back door there, right?
Yeah.
Then where does that lead you?
So at the time, my middle sister was married to a guy who's producing documentaries in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And he had borrowed a couch from a guy at Duke University who started a company called Sugar Hill Records, which, oh boy, people will probably know, wherever. So I called Barry Poss and said, "Hey, can I come clean your toilets? I just want to try to get into the music business and see if it's something I want to do."
Now, let me ask you just a quick sidebar, because you're talking about the home of Walter Hyatt.
Yeah.
And Uncle Walt's band, I think, was also
Walt's band. I mean, Nickel Creek.
Nickel
when I was
Creek.
there, I mean, the first thing I ever touched was a Dolly Parton record, "The Grass is Blue."
which is a great record.
Great record.
So you
And I
land
had
there.
no really idea what I was getting into.
Yeah.
I just kind of lucked into it.
So you land there scrubbing the toilets.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Sitting in the mail room from about 8:30 to noon, taking Dolly Parton records, stuffing them in an envelope, running them through the stamp machine, mailing them out to radio stations.
Yeah.
Did that till noon. Then I would drive to the Burger King in Durham, and I'd change from my music clothes into a suit. And I worked at a law firm from 1 to 5 as a clerk. Then I drove back to Chapel Hill and waited tables from 6 to 9. And then I played in a band at bars after that. Did that for about 5 months. And then a guy I had met when I was a sophomore at college, a family friend, Drew Alexander, called out of the blue and said, "Hey, are you still interested in the music business?" And I said, "Yeah, here's what I'm doing." He said, "Well, come back home and I'll interview you." So I flew back home to Nashville and interviewed, showed up in a coat and tie. He was like, "Lose the tie, lose the coat." But that's all I'd known. You know, I grew up, that's what you wear to a job.
Yeah.
And they hired me on the spot. And I started at the front desk, taking Bill a Bounty, handwritten lyrics, typing them into a Word document, transferring DATs to CD. And I remember answering the phone. I remember thinking, I've got probably the best high school education you could have. Went to the University of Georgia, and I'm answering phones and basically cleaning toilets for about $10 an hour. What am I doing?
What did
But I
your parents
loved
think
every
of that?
second. You know what?
Point,
They were super encouraging. They encouraged me to do it. And I thought I wanted to write songs.
Yeah.
So to get into a publishing company, I thought.
And
this
where
is
was
to
Drew
learn.
at the time?
He was running Curb Publishing.
Okay. All right.
So I got in there thinking, all right, I'm going to see how these songwriters do it. And then I heard the songs that Doug Johnson and Walt Wilkins and Bobby Tomberlin and those guys were writing. And I was like, oh shit, better learn the business real quick.
Yeah.
But kept writing. I wrote at night. I had a couple guys in town. Jim Riley was really sweet and took me under his wing. Wrote at night, wrote in the mornings. Chris Jansen was one that I would show up to Curb at, I don't know, 6:30, 7 a.m. in the morning. We'd write 2 songs and I'd be the first one up to work at 8:45.
And you were 24, 20
young, yeah.
ish.
This was probably about 3 or 4 years into it when I got enough confidence to sit in the room with other people.
And what year was that?
I mean, I graduated in 2002, so this would have been 2006, 2007-ish.
Okay.
And it's important that I can mark it because I started at Curb in October of 2002, and I wrote my first #1 song in October of 2012. So they call it a 10-year town. Living proof, 10-year town.
And what was your first big hit?
It's a big song called Hard to Love by Lee Brice. It's almost 6 times platinum. Changed my life. And then I had another #1 6 months after that. And I was running the A&R department at Curb Records. We skipped several years there.
Yeah, we're going to back up to that in a minute.
Then had 2 singles, 2 #1s, and I quit because I got offered a job to go run a publishing company. And it felt really shitty for me to compete with my clients. For example, if I had the opportunity to go write with Lee Brice and I didn't give it to you, my signed writer, that's not cool.
Yeah, it's not cool.
And I was born and raised in this town, and all you have is your reputation and your relationships. And I did not want to ruin that. I had worked for.
We fucking talk about this all the time. They're so sick of hearing reputation and Rolodex.
All you got.
Hour 13.
Day
2.
Yeah, well, it's true. Especially, it's really in every business, but especially in this business because it's so relational. I mean, you go from sitting in a room pouring your heart out with somebody writing a song to them trusting you with your copyrights and making sure you pay them.
I want to back up, but I want to take a quick side road just because now you've got me curious.
All right.
Why?
No taker.
Oh, why in the? I don't know. Wait, I don't know.
my
Might
wife
have to ask
said.
this.
When I quit.
Why in the hell do you run around with me? Because I have a polarizing reputation. I mean, seriously, like
You do, but because I love your spirit and I love your honesty and I love your tenacity, like the way you approach things.
You mean like full fucking tilt all the time?
full tilt?
Yeah.
You don't like to lose.
No, I don't like to lose either.
And the music business is a team sport, as in life, and you surround yourself with people, makes you better.
Sorry, I didn't. I just that for some
Yeah,
reason.
like
that
you
just
called me to
struck
do this. It's like, yes, I don't even know what I'm showing up for.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in.
So I want to back up. So you're writing songs basically in the morning before everyone gets to work,
Yeah.
and then your day job goes from scrubbing the shitter to running A&R.
So I was in the publishing company as in the tape room. And then I became the link between Curb Publishing and Curb Records. And my job in theory was to get Curb published songs recorded by Curb recording artists. Makes sense. You have all the rights in one place.
Yep.
I got into the record company and realized there was no administration department. Nobody was keeping track of recording costs. So I was getting these bills from engineers and from studio rentals and cartage companies, and they were just paying them. And I just started an Excel spreadsheet and kept track of the invoice number, the vendor, the artist, song titles, which became really important.
Mm-hmm.
Producers, and I learned the CFO taught me how to code it accounting wise. So I knew that 23 was for cartage and I knew 22 was for engineering. And I kept track of budgets and saved the company about 7 figures in the first 18 months just by paying attention to a budget. So then Mike Curb kind of was like, so he can pitch songs. Didn't know I was writing yet. It's like, he can do the right brain, left brain thing. And then in 2010, Doug Johnson left Curb Records, and Mike called and said, well, you're our new VP of A&R. And I was pretty young. And I was working with Tim.
How old were you at that point?
2010, I don't know how old that makes me. I can't do the math.
Yeah.
Young.
Well, apparently
Below
you can't
30.
do the math.
Below 30.
Yeah.
Had no business doing it, but had a really good relationship with Mike. And I could talk to Winona. I mean, I sat with her in Blackbird on that other side with Leanne Rhymes and Jody Messina. And so yeah, I had the ability to relate to the creative people because I knew songs and I could talk creative.
Yep.
But I also go sit at Mike Herb's house and talk about the business.
Yeah.
So I developed the creative piece, but also the business piece. And there aren't many people that can go into a songwriting room and go into a boardroom. And it just kind of became who I am.
Yeah. So Curb. So I again, side road. Affectionately known locally as the Artist Protection Program. We won't get into it.
No, people say that, but people also
Is that true?
Well, yes, but people forget Tim McGraw had like 6 failed singles before Indian Outlaw.
Yeah.
Rodney Atkin was there for 10 years before Going Through Hell. Lee Brice had 5 failed singles before we had 3 number ones, including Hard to Love and I Drive Your Truck, which is Song of the Year. So the other side is Mike is patient and gives people the time to develop their craft and to write themselves into the business. So there's 2 ways to look at it. He has a bad reputation in town. I think most people are just jealous.
I think that's probably somewhat true.
He's a really good businessman, and he pays attention to the letter of the law. And once you know that, and you know what you're dealing with. And I mean, he pretty much wrote the book for the music business here. I mean, he wrote hundreds of millions of dollars of checks to Belmont to create their music business program.
Yep.
What are we talking about?
Mike Curb.
Curb Records.
So Mike, this is a good point. So Mike had
Isn't the name of Belmont's like little program?
The Curb.
Mike Curb.
Yeah,
it's the Mike Curb
Yeah.
School of Music Business. Yeah.
Yeah.
He literally has wrote them hundreds of millions of dollars to start that. And Mike was an artist. He had the Mike Curb Congregation. He was also a producer, produced Hank Williams Jr.'s first and only radio #1.
Mm-hmm.
Good trivia piece.
Yep.
Was a publisher, record label owner. He did it all. So at that point, I didn't know you weren't supposed to write songs and work at a publishing company and be the head of A&R. And then I wrote Hard to Love and the whole world found out.
Yeah. Now, did you write under a pen name?
Well, good question. I wanted to. I called Mike and said, hey, Mike, I think I should put this as John Nelson, my middle name. He said, well, John, why would you do that? I said, well, I don't want people to think I'm taking advantage of my role here as head of A&R. He said, no, you should be proud of what you wrote. You should put John Ozier. I went, okay. So there you go.
I have a quick Mike Curb story. Do you remember the band? Do you remember when they signed the Eric Hamilton band?
Yes, one of my favorite bands.
Fucking love that. Yeah. So
Drew Alexander took me to see it
Yeah.
at the old Blockbuster on West End.
So I was part of that melee of craziness that was Eric Hamilton and everything around him. He had signed to Ron Halfkin's production company.
Oh my gosh.
Remember that guy?
Yes.
I was there when the guitar player went up on the curb and tried to run Ron over in his yard on Sunday morning. Oh yeah. What?
Context.
So this band, they were
great.
they were
Didn't they
just
have a harmonica player?
they had
Smiley?
what's his Sweepy Walker,
Yes.
who still plays with Eric. So that was like a 6-piece band. They were, I don't even know how to describe them. They were sort of
Kind of
genreless,
college band-ish, little jam band, but a little country.
but a little
Americana.
country, but also super like great players.
Yep.
And kind of, they were all kind of tripping their balls off.
Didn't they
all
have
the
a
time.
song said called "I Think
Well,
I Ate Too Many Mushrooms"?
I should have.
last night?
I think I took too many mushrooms.
I remember that.
Last
song.
time I did, I stayed stoned for a week.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember
So
that.
anyway, they were fucking killer, and they would like. I'll give you to me, my favorite story is we were recording the record for Curb.
Yep.
And Eric they were notorious for sort of straggling in at all times during the sessions, right?
Yeah.
And Eric comes in and he's like, and he's maniacal, as you may remember. And he comes in, he's like, everybody just stop. He goes, roll tape. And he goes in and sits down at the piano, and out comes Home Together.
Oh wow.
Like I get still get chills thinking about watching that happen.
Yeah.
It came out, we recorded it, and they played a show at 12th and Porter that night. And they rolled it out like the band had never played it. Right? They were such a tight unit at that point because they had been playing so many clubs, and it was probably the mushrooms and the weed and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, and by the second turn of the chorus, the entire you couldn't get in that place, right? Because they were so big at that point. Like they were anywhere they played.
Yeah.
It was like, and by the second pass through the chorus, the whole room was singing. And I'm like, we are fucking going to the Grammys. Like this is fucking Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Right. And then of course,
Yeah. It's funny,
1,800 units sold.
see, those are the moments being in the studio that were like my favorite. We went in, this was 2012. We had a 2 and a 6 booked at Ocean Way, the beautiful room, Studio A.
Yeah.
And first session went great. I don't even remember what we cut. The band and Lee went out to have dinner, drank too many margaritas, got stoned, came back. And we were trying to get 3 or 4 songs down. And Lee wanted to record a song he had just written with Billy Montana, and they got stuck. So 6 became 7. And remember, I'm the head of A&R too. And I'm starting to get a little nervous. The engineer and the producer stuck with them. They're trying to work out parts. And I'm like, oh man, we're wasting so much money. We're not going to get anything done. Second hour passed by. And by this point, I'm freaking out. I'm texting the engineer, like, you guys got to get off this song and get to the next song. And to their credit, they stuck with it, got it done. And then the last 30 minutes of the session, we cut Hard to Love and I Drive Your Truck. I Drive Your Truck went on to be Song of the Year. Hard to Love was a monster hit. Recorded those in pretty much like 2 takes.
Wow.
All right.
And that was a moment of just like magic.
So question. Back to the guy that almost got ran over on the lawn.
Yeah. Ron Hafkin.
Yeah. Why were you there?
Well, I was trying to get him to the studio. So I was riding shotgun, and these guys notoriously would like.
Were you managing them?
I was sort of. So do you remember? So it was Hafkin, and then they got Norman Ratner. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
So Norman Ratner was in the chair for a minute, and then Bill Fletcher took over.
Okay.
And Bill Fletcher was a political consultant, not a manager. So they were mismanaged. And Ron Hafkin, what's the band? On the cover of the Rolling Stone.
Oh yeah.
Hell's Bells.
Yeah.
He owns the band's name. Like Ron Hafkin is this notorious cat who like would strip everything away from the artist. He owned what was that band called? Somebody Google on the cover of the Rolling Stone. What was the name of that band? They were huge. We'll think of it. What?
Dr. Hook and Medicine
Dr. Hook.
Yeah, Dr. Hook.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so they were always embroiled. Eric literally sold his writer's share to like 8 people. I mean, he was just insane. He's still insane.
That's funny to me.
The plane I was going to land, I never actually got to the story. So when we finished the record, right, we're all like, yes, we're going to the Grammys. I was also at that time I was doing a bunch of different stuff. So I was the band's photographer and I was the art director on the album packaging.
Okay.
And when it came back, we went to Mike's office to have a meeting. And remember he had the rack of albums?
Yeah.
Like you were in a Tower Records.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so fucking weird. Like, what the hell is this? And I asked him, I said, so what? He's like, well, I want to see how it looks in the retail environment. I want to see when you drop it in the rack, what I can see above the fold. And I was like, that level of detail.
All of Curb records on the spine were all big, bold letters. They still
are.
And that's why.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, bro.
Yeah. Goodness.
But man, Eric Hamilton.
Yeah,
it was a mess. It was a total mess, but a beautiful mess for a period of time when they were kind of at their peak.
Right.
The one other quick one. Do you remember? Did you ever hear the story about when they went to New York to go showcase for the bigwigs at William Morris?
No.
So they got in the elevator on the first floor to go up 30 floors or whatever, and by the time I wasn't in the elevator. I was already upstairs. By the time they got upstairs, it had come out that the guitar that Eric had, pardon my French, fucked the guitar player's sister.
Oh.
And his retaliation was fucking Eric's wife.
Oh.
So they got into a fist fight on the way up in the elevator. That's how cursed disaster.
You're kidding.
No.
Seconds.
Yeah.
30. Yeah, it was enough to throw 3 or 4 good punches because they came out of the elevator and one of them was bleeding and it was like,
what a disaster. One of those,
anyway.
like, what could have been.
Yeah, so it is. It's currently residing in the Where Are They Now file.
Yeah. Wow.
Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Sorry, Eric.
That's right. That's right.
So okay. So anyway, so you're at Curb, you're running A&R, and you've now really in a lot of ways you've mastered several crafts. You've you've hit your first couple of licks as a songwriter.
Yep.
You're running a big chunk of a business at a young age.
Yep.
You've sorted out a bunch of stuff for them, right?
I
Like
have.
paid attention to a bunch of stuff. So you're sitting there, and now what's going on?
And then I get a call from my lawyer, and he says, I've got good news and bad news. I said, what's the good news? He said, you're the face of Curb Records. I said, what's the bad news? I said, you're the face of
Curb Records. Who's your lawyer at the time?
I probably shouldn't say.
Okay, all
I
right.
better not throw
Fair.
him under
Yeah,
the bus.
fair.
He's
Okay.
still getting me out of stuff.
Okay, good.
But that I wasn't looking. But then I got a call from a guy named Robert Ott out of Toronto, who had a company at the time called Olay. And he called and said, do you want to run my Nashville office? And I said, no, but I'll come talk to you. And I drove to the Hutton Hotel and sat down with them, and they explained they had just raised $600 million. He loved country music, and it was my chance to go run a company here in Nashville. They tripled my pay. So I called Mike and said, Mike, I need to see you today. He said, oh, great. I'm at the Palm. Come on down. It's probably the slowest I've ever driven downtown. Nervous wreck. Walk in, and he says, John, how are you? And I said, I'm not good, Mike. He said, was your family okay? I said, yes, Mike, my family's fine, but I'm calling to resign. I've been offered a position to go run a company, and I can't turn it down. And typical Mike, who's a politician, he says, oh, John, if someone told me 1 year we'd lose Leanne Rhymes and Tim McGraw and now John Ozier, and I'm going, give me a break. And then I went to pick up my final paycheck and got a letter from their labor and employment lawyer that reminded me I had some fiduciary duties. Remember, my dad is a labor and employment lawyer.
Uh-huh.
Their lawyer used to work for my dad.
Oh, okay.
Snap. Some details,
Uh-huh.
personal stuff we knew. So I called my dad. I said, what do we do? He's like, you have to respond. So he drafted a letter back, but we put it on my letterhead as if I drafted, so I didn't lawyer up.
Yeah.
They respond back, we're so disappointed you didn't adhere to your fiduciary duties. And then it went away.
Huh.
I went to the I Drive Your Truck #1 party. They presented me with a #1 plaque. Mike thanked me for 11 years of service, and that was it. Hadn't really talked to him since. Reached out to him last week to try to go sit down with him and thank him because he taught me everything. Yeah.
What is a fiduciary service?
So you don't tell trade secrets, and you don't steal employees or steal artists, and basically you have responsibilities to the company.
And typically, you when you sign it, did you have an employment agreement? Well, then there you go. In
And
a
Mike
way,
never did agreements.
and you didn't have. Then in a way, you had a fiduciary, quote unquote, but you didn't have.
There was
fiduciary.
nothing in writing.
Yeah.
I was just kind of an at-will employee. So it got messy for a second, and I had to call my new CEO and say, hey, I'm coming with some baggage. I hate to tell you. He said, well, if you weren't, I'd be worried. And that made me feel better. So they fired some letters back and forth, and then it went away.
Yeah.
And then I settled into my new gig, quit writing songs, and started running publishing companies and buying catalog.
2 questions.
Yep.
How long ago did you leave Curb?
I left Curb in 2013.
Okay. Did you take any of their employees, trade any secrets, or do anything like
I
that?
did not. I stayed best friends with them. I still go when I have interns or people in town. That's the first place I take them is to the Curb studio. And Craig White is still the engineer over there, and Aaron Boland, who works in there, is one of the nicest people in the world. So if y'all are working in those studios, y'all should get to know them because they're incredible. Becky Judd, Mike's assistant, is still one of my favorite people in town. Benson Curb, Jeff Turf, they're all awesome.
Yeah.
They're all like family. So it ended up okay. I think it probably hurt Mike's feelings a little bit that I left because not many people leave. Like me and Tim McGraw are about the only two.
And Leanne.
And Leanne,
Yeah.
yeah. He just wasn't used to somebody leaving. So end of a chapter. But all that say, that was there in the studio working with engineers, paying studio bills, writing songs, everything on the creative side. And then I got to Olay. I thought, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And then I had a writer come to me and said, you need to figure out if you're going to be a songwriter or a publisher because you can't do both.
Who was that?
I was like, fuck you, Brett Jones. And I thought about it for a little bit, and he was 100% right.
Yeah.
Actually, he passed away a couple weeks ago, and I went to his funeral and told his wife that. I was so pissed at the time because he was a writer and a publisher, but he wasn't running a corporate publishing company.
Yeah.
So he was right. So I quit writing and focused on my writers and focused on growing a company and building revenue. And
So so in that early moment, right, when Olay kind of showed up with a big old bag of money,
they did.
I mean, that was early in kind of the monetization of catalog, the way that we think about it now.
They were one of the first institutionally backed investors.
And weren't they backed by the Canadian
Ontario Teachers Pension Plan.
teacher? Yeah, so
What?
it's the
They're backed
teachers
by the
pension plan.
Ontario Teachers Pension Plan.
So how does that back a corporate entity?
They like investing in copyrights because it's an uncorrelated asset. So it's an alternative market play for them, meaning interest rates go up and down, stock rates go up and down. You go through COVID, you bomb Iran, and music stays.
We're invading Iceland. Have you heard about
I
this?
heard about that earlier. And copyrights stay just like this. And there's an argument that people might listen to more music in times of trouble. So they see it as a really stable investment.
Question: how do they get their money back for ROI on that?
So the way copyrights work, you write a hit song, peaks. If you get peak earnings about 9 months after it peaks it on the charts, then it decays depending on the genre. Country decays probably 90-95% year over year, but then it levels off. But what happened when streaming hit, the industry started growing, and all that income started growing with it.
I want to back up to this point in time, because we were both here when Napster happened.
Yep.
And there was a serious, as you remember, the industry's sort of response to that wave was, we're going to legislate and litigate our market share, right? So we started suing our customers. And there were a few of us who thought that was stupid as all get out. And then there were a bunch of us who thought that was. So where do you come down on kind of technological innovation related to the industry?
That's a tough one. It's funny. Robert Kensel, the head of Warner, came out not too long ago talking about AI. And he said, we're going to do 3 L's. We're going to license and litigate. And what am I missing? License, litigate, and legislate.
Legislate, yep.
Probably in reverse order: license, legislate, litigate.
Yep.
So we're kind of right back where we were with Napster.
Well, in a way, but I think with Napster, it was litigate first.
It was litigate first.
Right.
There was no holding hands.
And then legislate, and there was no licensing.
No.
At least not initially.
No.
So where was Curb in all of that mix?
To be honest, I was so head down in the studio,
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Okay.
I guarantee you Mike was out in front of it with his political history, and he's an incredibly smart guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what was that, like 2000?
It would have been 1999
Yeah, so that would have been a
through
little
kind
bit.
of 02.
So I started in 02, and the business went in 08, and I remember thinking, what am I doing with my life? And then you write a hit song and everything changes.
Well,
hits change everything.
And if you look at it, I mean, this is if you look at the continuum over the last 100 years in music, it has resisted every technological change. The business shrinks
Yep.
in the resistance, and then they adopt, and the business gets bigger.
That's right.
And it's done that like 5 times.
We're in an interesting
And we're
time
in a
right
moment where it's happening
There's
yet
a
again.
ton of consolidation happening. I mean, you have DMG buying Concord, you have Primary Wave buying Cobalt. Yeah, you see this morning, you wake up to Pershing Square, going to buy Universal, or my company, which is a public company, going back private because there is a hostile takeover, which we could talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of consolidation happening. What it also says is everyone's paying attention to what we're doing, and music as an asset is a real thing.
Yeah, it is. It's an oil well.
And
I
the
mean, look
reason Ackman is trying to buy Universal is because he says it's completely undervalued. The reason we have an activist investors because we're trading at $750 at the time, and they come out and say Reservoir is undervalued. And we're like, yeah, we are, and the stock price shot up. So now we're trading closer to where we should be, but we're not quite there yet. So yeah, people are finally like waking up to it, which for me as a buyer of catalogs is an awesome thing.
Yeah. So okay, so you go to Olay. You've made your sort of switch to you. I'm assuming you never put songwriting down, but
I did.
You did. You
I
put it
did.
down.
I put it
So
down.
you're not writing anymore at all.
Right, I don't. I mean,
Really?
I could probably pick up a song and write one right here, but not on the business side of things. It's kind of like if I want to sit down and write a song, I kind of want to write a hit.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, right. So no, I really quit.
Okay, so you're now fully sort of focused on the other side. You got a bag of money.
Got a bag of money.
And it sounds like you've got kind of you've got an education that you can carry into that, and you've got a new guy you're working for. And is he giving you free reign? Is he
to
giving
an
you
extent? I mean, I had a
because there's a
deal
whole
team.
thing about that group and that
They were very disciplined. I'll say that. But Robert, the owner, and his wife in particular loved country music.
Mhm.
So the people in LA and New York, and they would call me like, "We hate you. You're the golden child because you're in Nashville and you're in country music." And I had an incredible team, and I think we had 32 number ones while I was there.
Yeah.
We were crushing it.
Yeah.
And then
you like to win. I heard somebody told me that.
I like to win. And we bought some really undervalued catalogs. We did a deal with Jeremy Stover, who owns the building next door there. Incredible run. We had Travis Denning and a bunch of awesome writers. Had a bunch of number ones out of that. Signed Tony Martin. We had hits with Dan and Shay and Jason Aldean and Tim McGraw. We signed Jordan Davis, got him a record deal. And then Ontario Teachers had been in that investment for a while, and they were ready to get out. So I caught wind remember, I grew up here in Nashville, only person from my high school to ever really go to the music business.
Yeah.
All my friends are bankers and lawyers. And so I got a call that, hey, Olay is selling Cobalt. I was like, what? I've got 2 young kids at home at this time.
Yeah.
I'm at the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So I walk out and I call the CEO in Toronto, call him on my cell phone. I'm like, hey, I heard that you're selling to Cobalt. Is that true? And he flew off the handle. Who the fuck told you that? Whoever did, I'm going to sue their ass. They violated their NDA.
Fiduciary.
I was like, come on, Robert. I've got 2 young girls at home. Is this true? He said, well, yeah, I signed the LOI today. And at that point, it was like, fucking game on. I'm about to lose my job. Whoever buys this company, it's typical in music business. When you get bought, you're probably screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, not always, but mostly.
Yeah, usually leadership shoves the old guard out and brings in
And then what happened? My team got scared. A couple of them had been through mergers, so they left. I lost my team, and I went into survival mode and partnered with 2 private equity guys out of New York. And I spent all of 2018 still running Olay in Nashville. There were mornings I would get to the office at 6 a.m, walk in, turn my computer on, turn my lights on, walk out the front, Uber to B&A, fly to LaGuardia, taxi to Wall Street, do 2 pitch meetings, a lunch meeting, an early afternoon meeting, go back to LaGuardia, back to B&A, back to the office at 6:30. My staff would be like, Ozier, where have you been? We hadn't seen you all day. Like, I've just been out doing meetings. I just didn't tell them I was in New York.
Yeah.
So did that for almost a year. And then we went to market August, which is the worst time to ever go to market. Wall Street disappears. New York goes on vacation.
Yep.
But in November, they put me in the room with Reservoir, whom I'd never heard of. So I fly to New York. I'm flying there. I do my research. It's like, well, these guys are doing kind of exactly what we want to do with these private equity guys. It's spend 75% of a $100 million fund buying catalog, and then 25% developing artists and talent, which I always know how to do.
Yeah.
So I walk into the board meeting and give the pitch, and the CEO, Golnar Kozer Shahi, comes back and says, well, this is one of the best business plans we've ever seen. We've wanted to start a Nashville office for 10 years. We've just never found the right person. You're our guy. We don't need your private equity people. We want you to come work for us.
And because those 2 guys, I had encountered that deal.
Smart guys.
Yeah, really smart guys.
They did incredibly well.
Yeah.
So
What's their names? I can't remember.
Steve Reinsteiler. It was Amplified
Yep.
Music Rights.
Okay.
They sold last June to Charles Goldstuck at Gold State.
Oh my God, Goldstuck.
Yep.
I have.
Yep.
Charles is an interesting.
He's an
being.
interesting cat. I've had dinner with him.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat.
So yeah, Golnar came back and said, we want you to start our Nashville office. And I said, okay, I've got one last obligation to these private equity guys. So they flew in a guy from DC, and we do a meeting at BMI. And in that meeting, I raised $50 million of equity. So then I had a job offer from Reservoir. And I'd raised $100 million fund. All happened on the same day.
Yeah.
I called Reservoir, said, hey, I need to figure out what I want to do. I've just raised this music fund. I called the private equity guy, said Reservoir wants me to start their Nashville office. I need a few days to figure out what I want to do. And at that time, hypnosis was coming on the scene. Multiples were going up. Interest rates were going up. And I didn't want to get away from the music. I didn't want to go work for Wall Street guys. So I turned down a $100 million fund to start the Nashville office for Reservoir, which was 7 years ago, April 1.
Mm.
And now we've done
And at the time, how big was Reservoir before Nashville was opened?
So I knew nothing about them, but I called David Israelite, who runs the NMPA, the National Music Publishers Association. I said, what do you know about Reservoir? He said, well, it's the best run publishing company I've seen. They've been quietly aggressive, but I don't think they'll be quiet much longer. And I went, all right, I'm in. So I started April 1. We had no catalog. We had no office. We had no employees. And we've done over $150 million worth of acquisitions. We've got a roster of about 40 writers, give or take. We've had over 30 number ones in every genre you can imagine. First hits we had were Juice by Lizzo, and then Butter by BTS. And our New York office called. So this is not what we thought would happen when we hired the Nashville country guy. I was like, well, this is what's happening in Nashville.
Yeah.
Like Nashville's changed in 2019. So we hit that switch in Nashville perfectly. Reservoir is known as a hip hop R&B publisher. I mean, they've had 2 Chainz. They've re-signed him 12 times. Migos, Jid. They bought Tommy Boy Records. We own all the Queen Latifah and Digital Underground.
Yeah.
All that. So we kind of were able to ride that wave. And then we signed a really eclectic roster. Signed the Kings of Leon, signed Sheryl Crow. It had hits with Jelly Roll and Chris Brown and Usher and Megan Thee Stallion and Morgan Wallen and everything in between. So it's been a really fun ride. So
you talk a lot about your team, and for these guys who are going to try to figure out their path, when someone walks in to see you that wants to clean the toilets, is that still happening, by the way, or do you now have to come in with a 4-year degree? And
no.
like, what's the way in, and what are you looking for? What's the thing that sort of sets one apart from others?
So my first hire at Olay was a guy named Ben Strain. Ben was leaving Sony in a kind of a sour situation, and he came in. He was like, "I want to run those fuckers in the ground."
Nothing like a chip on
I
your
was
shoulder.
like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
So I was able to fuel that energy and use it in a positive way.
Yeah.
Used to do it with Robert Ott. There's a guy that left before me, Arthur Boyanhora.
Oh yeah.
Probably the best A&R guy in town. Signed Taylor Swift, Miranda Lambert, Eric Church, Dierks Bentley.
God damn.
No, he did pretty well.
I know them once more.
Arthur.
Yeah.
So Arthur's amazing.
Yes.
But when he left, Robert Ott was as mad as him as Mike Curb was at me. So I'd call and be like, hey, Arthur's looking at this deal. And they would go straight to the top, and I'd have an offer that afternoon. So I figured out how to play to my strengths. So yeah. But Ben was ready to run Sony in the ground. And he had come from a major publishing company, really good creative. And he and I, we went to war together.
Yeah.
We rolled up our sleeves and built something really great. Same thing at Reservoir. I hired a guy named Greg Gallo, who'd been at Big Loud, been at Big Deal. He knew Big Deal was about to go away. And he came to me. He's like, I think we can run this town. And I said, okay, so let's saddle up and do it. And built. Then I hired a girl named Beth St. Jean, who really kind of handles more of our non-country stuff. Spends a lot of time East Nashville, LA. And then we've got another coordinator, Sarah McDaniels, who's straight ahead country. And everybody's kind of in their own lane, but we all work really well together.
How many on the team now?
There's just 4 of us here. And then
Okay.
we've got 3 royalty people in our office. And I spend probably 90% of my day talking to New York.
And within the context of what?
Doing deals. So I'll back up. When I got to Olay, I thought, well, I'm going to be the creative guy. I'm going to make records. And then I realized real quickly, when you're running a company, you don't have time to be in the day-to-day creative. Like I never had time to pitch songs. I signed Josh Dorr and Tyler Farr, and I did them a huge disservice.
Because you couldn't.
I didn't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
I was out negotiating contracts and trying to get our deal team to get me deal memos so I could drive revenue. I mean, it was beaten into my head, drive net revenue, NPS. So I would wake up literally thinking, today I'm going to go generate positive NPS.
And that's a pretty big, I mean, you made this comment earlier, you have this odd right and left brain. So did you just turn that side off? Where's the creativity in the other side?
Because I'm a songwriter and have written one really big hit and then a hit that never should have been a hit. And I saw how they worked. I saw it in my bank account. One went up and went down and did this and then started growing. One went up and sank and just kept going down. So there's all copyrights are not created equal. Some, you want the ones that have longevity and that change culture and that will be around in 20 years. Like there are writers that have 30 number ones and you probably won't remember 29 of them. But then there are other guys that write one or two that'll be around in 30 or 40 years. So as an investor, you want to find songs that are going to be around in 30 to 40 years.
So do you think of yourself as a finance guy?
I think of myself as a creative finance guy.
Okay.
I mean, I know to speak. I mean, I can speak it, but I can't go in and talk about K curves and build a model. I mean, I know more than I should about it, to be honest, because I've really run a creative staff here. But I told my staff is I'm going to take all of the business administration, paying the bills, dealing with lawyers and managers and all the hard conversations, give it to me. You all go be creative, take care of our songwriters, put them in positions to succeed, and you better have hits. And if you do that, I'll send the hard stuff to me. You all go be creative and take care of our writers. And it worked really well at OLA and it's worked here. So I'm not like I've had to drop so many writers in my career and I still hate it. It's my like least favorite thing to do in the world.
Yeah.
You get to the point where I don't mind it. I don't avoid it. You just kind of hit it head on. And most of the time I'll fall on the sword and say, I feel like I really let you down. Like just where we are financially, we're not going to be able to continue with the deal. And I feel like it's my fault. And most of the time I do, I still take that blame. It just feels like the right thing to do. And deals work when both parties are happy. And so
pause. Hands, those of you who write and or want to be artists or are artists in certain cases.
Okay.
So tell them what to do.
You got to find a way to be persistent, but as an artist, you can find a voice and be great and be different. I mean, it was weird as hell for me to be sitting in this amazing studio on the other side of this wall and Winona of the Judds. She was like, I don't know what I want to say. And you could tell from a couple records she made, the song sucked. Best voice in the world, but the songs were terrible.
Yeah.
So I took her around. We met with the Chicks with Hits. You remember them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She told me if we ever do that again, she'd kill me. Quote. But to hear those voices, Jody Messina, one of the best singers in this business.
Yeah.
She got to a point where she didn't know what to say. And then the whole country radio thing doesn't want to play to females, but a lot of them at the time didn't have something
to say
in a different way. And then Casey Musgraves comes along and talks about getting high and saying things in a really unique way that people are like, whoa, what did she just say? So be different, find your voice and say something and be confident. Because being an artist is a hard thing. When Lee Bryce was hitting it hard, he was doing probably 280, 290 shows a year. So hitting it hard, staying out to 3 a.m, but he'd be up at 6 at the radio station doing the morning drive. So you gotta love it for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
but it also depends on like why you make music. It's like you ask why I write songs. I write songs because I wanted to go make money, and I loved being in a room and like hearing your song on the radio is the coolest thing I've ever. I mean, I still tear up thinking about it. So yeah, you got to want it to win it. Especially in this business.
There's a dear friend of mine said to me once, if you can not do music, don't. Right,
100%.
Because it's fucking hard. But if you can not do it, if you have to,
right,
then just all the way in.
I mean, that's why
no plan B is what I.
That's why I turned down $100 million because I was working for like having a real job and having to like report to like real people in suits. I was like, I'm not ready for that quite yet. Like for me, we have an incredible office on West End. It's an old house. We have 6 writers' rooms. We have people that come in and write hit songs right behind me while I'm working, and it's the coolest thing in the world in Music City.
Yeah.
So not having that, I'd probably freak out. But
So okay, so you're there, you get the office set up, and Israelite says they're not going to be quiet much longer. Turns out they weren't.
they weren't.
So where is it now? Where does it kind of bring us to today?
Well, God, in 2021, we went public on NASDAQ. I actually got to go to Wall Street and ring the NASDAQ bell. I was there in the morning when you see people clapping, and I did that, which I never thought I'd do, starting clean toilets. Going public turned out to not be that great of a thing for us. We're getting out of that. It's been an incredible run. I've learned a ton. It's a very different culture than Olay. It's just different. It's more business. It's all business, and we don't celebrate our wins a whole lot. It's almost like it's expected of you, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's kind of how I was raised a little bit. Like you're expected to do great. Like, so I don't mind it, but it's probably, we're terrible at onboarding people. I'll tell you that. You get hired and it's like, good luck.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out, which is it's good in business. Like if I hadn't have gotten into Curb Records and figured out they didn't have an admin department and hadn't just done it, I'd probably still be stuffing tapes and mailers, you know?
So you're in a way, you're kind of at the top of your game. So what do you do from here?
I don't know. I think about it. I'm a 46-year-old. I'm an old man. Like, how long do I want to go here? Well, I think about it. Like, how long am I going to be relevant on the creative side? I don't know. Maybe 10, 15 years. Maybe I lose interest in it. And I think the finance business piece of it is what's kept me interested in it. And it's competitive, like going to compete for a Ernest deal who'd sold his catalog for $18 million, which I was in the running and I lost. I was pissed, like pissed.
Yeah.
So I'm still competitive and I love that part of it. And it's a little bit different than going and hearing someone at the Bluebird play their first hit. It's just a different thrill, but it's still satisfaction. I do a lot of mentoring, which feels weird. But people were so good to me, getting me into the business. I want to pay it forward. So like connecting with people in the business, someone helped us get in there and everybody is willing to help you too. It's hard to see it, but for the most part, I mean, you've helped numerous people get into the business. Yeah.
I mean, I think to me, you have an obligation to pay it forward to some degree.
And when I was growing up, I didn't have Belmont. I mean, the University of Georgia now has an incredible music business program, but it didn't exist when I was there. I just went and figured it out. I didn't know what unions were. I had no clue what the AFM was. What was that? And I just figured it out. Throw me in a situation and you learn, and sometimes you have a different perspective on it than other people's, which can be beneficial.
So I'm going to pause and see if there's questions.
Okay. You support AI. Sorry, wait.
We're gonna get to AI in a minute.
Okay.
Okay. While you're talking, I just like to read your internships in the door.
Perfect.
But
it's an awesome company.
Well, like in looking, I looked at your posting and under your job description for your specific intern, it says utilizing AI music tools such as to develop demo.
We do.
So why do you choose to do that?
I'll tell you why. This is actually.
I'm assuming
this
it comes back to the business part and the amount of you sitting there being like, okay, we're 2 hours into this, we're wasting money.
A little bit. So when we buy catalogs, we're buying songs that are earning money, but we also are buying songs that have never been recorded. So for example, you remember Roger Murrah?
Oh yeah.
So Roger Murrah
I haven't heard that name in 100
signed
years.
Luke Bryan to his first publishing deal, and he wrote, I mean, tons of hits back in the day. But there were thousands of work tapes. They're from like the early 1990s and totally dated. And our coordinator figured out how to run those through Suno and bring them back to life as if they were written yesterday. So from a financial side, if we're able to go get songs recorded that were never recorded when we bought the catalog, it makes your return go through the roof. So we're adding value. So we're using AI.
You're more so taking things that are technically already recorded.
They're already
just
recorded.
they're made.
Yeah, and we tell people we're
It's
we're honest. Like when we pitched it, like, hey, this is a Suno demo. It was written by Luke Bryan in 2003, and people don't really care. We're honest
Just out of
about it.
curiosity, are you using Luke's voice?
You can use no, it's like people that
Yeah.
sound
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Jelly Roll likes to hear AI demos that sound like him. He likes to try to hear himself singing it.
Huh.
So we've had lots of thoughts with Jelly that way. So yeah, that's what that Suno is. Just we've had a ton of work trying to generate more revenue from songs that were not generating revenue.
So let me ask a question on that specifically. So if you have these asset classes that you own, right? Is it possible can you take those things and smash them together in different ways and then take that output using AI as a new asset?
Like taking
Meaning-
two copyrights.
Yeah,
and-
meaning you two copyrights that you control. So you own.
Yeah.
Are you
I
doing
mean,
that?
it'd be like a mashup, but you're
Yeah.
creating a new master.
Yeah.
So Reservoir is really known for De La Soul. When we bought Tommy Boy De La Soul's music had never been put up on DSPs. If you're a hip hop fan, it's
It's like
That's
the original.
gospel.
It's the original. And we bought that and we went and cleared all of those, which sampled
for
hundreds. I think
Yeah.
it took us 18 months to clear all of the samples, which our New York office did. But because they did that, they were able to release that music to the public. So people are doing that. Like when I did a deal with a guy named Dennis Lambert who wrote "We Built This City on Rock and Roll."
Mhm.
He wrote "Ain't No Woman Like the One I Got,"
Wow.
110 Soldier. Wrote some huge songs. And it's either Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion. Someone just sampled one of his songs. So I've got an 80-year-old writer on my roster who just got a cut by one of the biggest female rappers in the world, and it's awesome. We love it.
Other questions? Oh, you're awful quiet.
What are you doing mostly when you're like here in a studio? Like on the actual day?
I am not here anymore, and it's the saddest thing. In fact, my wife can tell when I've been at a studio or been around the creative, I'm just a happier person. I love the creative part. Like when I was working so much, I wrote my 2 hits on writing retreats. I think part of it is because I wasn't thinking about work or I wasn't worried that I needed to get back for a meeting.
Yeah.
You could go down and just be free. So I wrote Hard to Love on 30A, and I wrote Whiskey in My Water in East Tennessee. So like I missed the creative part and being around studio stuff. But at the time I was the head of A&R, so overseeing, I was picking what songs got recorded. Semi-producing, saying, hey, that guitar part didn't sound right. So, I mean, I was in the thick of it. Now it's coming by to say hi to an artist that we just paid $1 million to, just to say hi. So more shaking hands and greeting people than it is on the creative side.
So-
It sucks, but
When
that's what happens, I guess.
when you take the company private, do you get to are you going to get to secondary market some of your stock?
My
and then-
shares will liquidate.
Oh, your shares will liquidate.
They will, yeah. All my
Congratulations.
shares, yeah.
So why not then hang up your cleats and go back to the creative side?
I could.
Because at that point you'll have a pile of fucking money.
It'll not like retirement style, but it could give me some freedom. Yeah, and then the part of me is like, I don't know, could I still write a hit song? It's like, part of me is like, I'd like to find out. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so let's I do want to uncork AI a little further because it's in everybody's head, right? There are
Yeah.
some people in here who hate it, haters.
I'm with you. To an extent, even though now.
Mike is probably the biggest hater.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Well, technology is not my thing. I'm not even on social media. Like I'm speaking on a panel in a couple weeks, and they're like, "Will you post this and put all your handles up?" I was like, "I don't have any handles."
Yeah.
Like I was never on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram. I wasn't on Twitter. I'm not on X.
Yeah.
They've got no AI profile for this guy.
Yeah.
I got nothing. Well, because my life's not that interesting, and nobody wants to see what I had for breakfast. Like, and a part of me wants to kind of hide behind the curtain. Like I sit in meetings and tell people I wrote 2 number ones. They're like, "What?" kind of like do your homework, but but there's not much out there, so I
Yeah.
don't talk about it.
So what do you see it as an existential threat, or do you see it as an enhancement, or do you
It's
see
gonna,
it as
well,
a
it's
mix?
not going away.
Like you can't. I mean, every time I open my phone now, I mean, it's like, hey, welcome, and we've got a new AI function. It's like
Well, some of it's,
Decline,
I mean, it's
decline.
kind of cool. Like
Some of it's kinda-
I learned, hey, my health insurance is going up by so many dollars, and I was able to say how much percentage increase is this, and it
Yeah.
spits it out like
Yeah.
that. Like that part is pretty awesome.
Yep.
The music stuff's scary, even though we have a writer at Reservoir. His name's Oak Felder. He did a TED talk on it.
good name, Oak
and-
Felder.
Incredible producer.
Jesus.
One of the smartest guys I've ever met. But he did a TED talk on it. And I left going, oh, I feel better about it. His kind of ending is like, if you're going to paint your house, you hire a painter. Like AI can come in and just paint your house. But if you want a mural with blackbirds on it, you hire an artist. And it's kind of the different in AI music and songwriter generated music. Like, I don't know that AI can necessarily come in and write a song that, that is talking about what happened personally in your life, like life emotions. And when I was the head of AMIR, I listened to so many songs that you can tell the things that are real really quickly. Like,
Unpack
and
that a little. Unpack that. I mean, what
it used
what-
to be the hair on the back of my neck, or I'd spend 2 minutes a song trying not to cry in front of a publisher from Sony. When we heard I Drive Your Truck, bawling, absolutely bawling. Lee turned around, he was crying. We were like, I think we should report that. Just because it's a human, we're emotion. I mean, we all are very vulnerable people in this business. And if you're here doing it, you're probably pretty good at what you do if you're crazy enough to try to take a leap of faith and come do this. And we're all kind of willing to let our hearts hang out on our sleeves. So like, you're never going to take that away. And I don't think that computer right there could make me feel like that. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I mean, you can even hear it. I can hear in the AI songs, you can hear it in the vocal. It just doesn't feel like a human. So that part doesn't really scare me. And listen to Oak Felder's TED Talk. It's incredible. It'll make you feel better about it.
What environmental?
Then there's that. But yeah, that's it. It's not, there's nothing we can do about it. So you might as well embrace it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes back to that. Here's yet another technological innovation, and how are we gonna respond?
The other trick too is if you can then trace, if I know that this song A was generated from AI and it trained off Hard to Love, and then song A is used to train and make song B, and I get a piece of publishing on song A and song B because I wrote Hard to Love that it was trained on, and now I have publishing on song A through Z and have all those more sources of income, it could change publishing in a heartbeat.
Well, and but the question then becomes, how is that? How do we trace it?
And is it too far out of the
Yeah.
that I don't know.
Yeah. And then you're back to kind of curb and politics. How does that?
That's it. So
Right.
I'm the president of the Association of Independent Music Publishers. I have been, this is my 10th year. So I've been knee deep. I was the head of the national organization for 2 years. So I've been to DC. I've got probably my favorite picture that sums up my life as I'm walking down the halls of Senate in a suit carrying a guitar. And that's where real work is being done. And being able to sit in and explain to a senator what copyrights mean and why songwriters and publishers need to get paid better. And why AI is a threat. Those are really important things that are going to shape the future. So other people get to come make music for a living.
So, okay. So, when you, I want to go back. I'm going to go back to team for a minute, and then I want to jump to one other thing, and then what we'll do, any more questions, and then I'm going to leave you with, I've got one final question for you.
Oh, great.
So, back to team for a minute. When you kind of think about your career and you think about the people around you, one of the things I learned was, if I was the smartest guy in the room, I was in the wrong room.
Yes.
Right. So can you talk a little bit about that within the framework of building teams and how you attract the talent that really propels what you do?
It's a really good question. Are there moments where I've been scared to death when I thought my employees were better than me? And I thought, well, that's probably a really good thing because we challenge each other. And I mean, I hired 2 guys that were older than me and had come from Sony, a big major publisher. They probably knew more about publishing than me. And that scared me to death, which lit a fire under my ass, which made me work like crazy. And then we kind of figured that out and figured out how to feed off of each other. And then we celebrated wins. Like they were as competitive as me and wanted to go take down their former employer, but I just used that to fuel the fire.
Yeah.
So we could win. I mean, you've got the point where I get nervous is if I get bored because I've been the executive vice president at Reservoir for 7 years. Like what's next? Like, I don't want to do I sit in the same spot forever? I love my job, but I wish I could learn, like, what do I learn more? I want to learn what's really happening in the boardroom about talking about us going back private. Like, what are those conversations? How do you decide at what price? Like, how do you value the catalog? And I don't know, continuously learn.
And do you put your hand in the air for that and try to get in that room, or are you?
I read a lot. Like Fridays, all my people work at home, and I go into the office and I read for like 6 or 7 hours. Read every trade I can find. The more you read, the more you know. It's really helped me.
And what's your when you think about what you read the trades? What else do you read?
I read the trades. I read the New York Times. I don't read a whole lot of political stuff. Try to stay out of that.
Yeah.
I read about my business and songwriting and finance and why people are pouring billions of dollars into this business. And I read about AI and what's going to happen to studios, and I read about that stuff.
Yeah. Well, when you think about the way that that technology has impacted the studio business, right? I remember the first installation over here at County Q of Pro Tools.
Yeah.
When Tommy Andrus put it in.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Oh, this is nothing. It doesn't sound as good." It's it's that whole thing about digital back when we were running Mitsu X850s.
Right.
And everybody's like, "Oh, it's not as good as analog." And then one day it all fucking caught up, and then everybody woke up and it's like, my old studio is a pet grooming facility now. Like it's like,
yeah. But I learned too from reading, then you have knowledge, and then the people that I'd hired come to me to ask me about things. Hey, what do you think? What's going to happen on this? Or, hey, I heard this deal is happening. What does that mean? And so it's always good to continuously learn.
So you're bullish on human created music is part of what you're saying.
Yeah.
You don't think there's a replacement for it.
I don't. And I think catalog is good. I've read an article today, a guy who proposed Warner fire everybody and just let their catalog run its course.
Yeah. And
their margins are actually better, which is a horrible thing to think about because catalog does more than frontline business now. No, I'm human 100%. In this business that is about relationships and politics and human emotion, you can't take it away. You can't replace it.
Who have you wanted to work with that you haven't gotten to yet? And then who did you land the plane with that you were like, fucking right?
You know who I've
Like,
never worked with, but is probably my favorite person in the business is our friend Joe Galani. Joe was an advisor when I was out raising money. He's retired and he's
not retired.
He knows more about this business than anybody. We do lunch probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a year, and it's my favorite lunch.
Yeah.
Like I get nervous for it.
He was here last spring.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Just because he's so smart and so successful and has given so much back. He's one that I wish I had worked for. I feel like we would have done some damage together.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are a bunch of awesome artists and songwriters. I wish Shane McAnally is one who writes just incredible songs. Yep. Know him. Ashley Gorley is another one. I don't know any great songwriter. I've worked with amazing writers throughout my career.
Did you ever work with Mac McAnally?
Just briefly. I met Mac when I was at Curb. I met some amazing people when I was at Curb. Like I was hanging out with Winona when I was like 28.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Let me think about that once more, though.
Okay. Other questions from y'all? Yeah.
Do you believe that the reason catalogs can take over for frontline is because people value that? I should say the catalog creates value in people's heads because most of the catalog owned by those majors comes from before the DSP revolution?
I think it's all about familiarity. I think people like something that is common or close or recognizable to them, whether they know it or not. It's like a warm blanket. And they hear something that they may not even know they know. I think that's why people sample music, because it sounds just familiar, just enough to draw you in and make it feel comfortable to your ears. It's my thought on it. I mean, also, the 70s and 80s were some of the best music ever. I mean, it's 60s too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's why it's familiar and people have heard it so many times that sometimes it's playing, you don't even know it's playing. What I think, I don't know.
Abby?
What's your favorite book?
My favorite book? Oh gosh, I don't read books as much as I do. I always read boring business stuff.
Well, other than boring business stuff. It's a boring business book.
Yeah, I don't even like those. You know, I don't know.
What's the last book you read?
I have no idea. It's probably about Georgia football.
Hey.
It's funny. I watch like when I watch TV, I find shows that don't have music. Like I love Expedition Unknown and Expedition X and the Cooking Channel. And because if I hear music playing, I'm thinking, oh, I wonder who wrote that. I wonder if the publishing's open on that. I bet you I could go get that. Then have a piece of the show. And it's kind of how I'm always thinking.
Oh, I want to. You had a. I can't remember. You had a trick about figuring out who unpublished writers were. This is fucking brilliant.
I still do. So reading, I read the charts every day, and you know they have little songwriter lines, and I go through every song on the chart, and if there's a name I don't know, I send it to my staff, and if they'll say, oh, he's at BMG or oh, she's at Sony, but they're like, oh, we don't know. It's like, go find out. I think the last 7 writers we've signed brought in #1 songs into the deal because they were unpublished. Don't send this to Rusty Gaston. But, but no, I learned that from just paying attention. And then you can find somebody who doesn't have a publishing deal, and it gives them an opportunity to put a lot of money in their pocket. And it gives us to start a deal with momentum and a hit, which then you can parlay into another hit. And then you're not starting at zero trying to develop a songwriter for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting with that momentum.
Are you still developing songwriters from
We are
year zero?
not as much. No, I have the Tennessean called today to ask about that. And I mean, it used to be like, Eric Hamilton, there's something there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Let's take a chance. And maybe in 5 to 7 years, we'll make some money.
Yeah.
And now you got to have money coming in day one. So we don't get to do as much development. I mean, writers are always developing no matter where they are in their career. But finding someone brand new to town with nothing going on, it's just hard. I think a lot of it's so much private equity money has come into the business who are looking at a 3 to 5 to 7 year return.
And do you think that's an interesting, you bring something up interesting that I want to unpack a little bit. Do you think that that's hurt the business? That it's hurt creativity?
100%. Yes. There's
Every
nothing,
business.
Yeah,
there's nothing good about private equity money coming into our business. There's not. And this is a patient business. It's an art business. It's about emotions and feelings that don't show up on spreadsheets. My hope is that I can somehow marry the two. Kind of goes back to how I grew up. I grew up at MBA, white collar, and Mike Curb always said, you know, the business community in Nashville is totally separate than the music business community.
Mm-hmm.
The business, they always thought that we were redneck hillbillies,
Which we were.
maybe we are, but so were they.
Yeah. In fact, they might be more redneck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I've always, because of Mike, I've always wanted to try to bring those two together, which is probably why I can sit in a songwriting room and go talk in a boardroom.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can figure out how to do that without taking away creativity, and making people feel uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
that would be the trick. But no, there's nothing good about private equity coming into this business. Bankers will tell you that too. That's why I love the bankers in this town, because it becomes about bottom lines and returns and not about songs that move people and change people's lives. And I've been a part of those, and you can't replace that.
Yeah. Any last questions? Got a couple. Go.
In a couple sentences ago, you were like, if they have a hit coming in, you can parlay that momentum into another hit. What does that look like?
Well, then you get in bigger rooms is what we call it. So then you write up. So now the guys that have had 10 number ones are like, oh, this might be the new hot writer. I'll write with them.
Yeah, meaning once you become the hit songwriter, then everybody perceives you differently. And
That's
you get
success.
the opportunities start to compound.
Success begets success. And people want to write with people who are having hits. So then you say, hey, he just wrote the new Jelly Roll single, Need a Favor. And they're like, oh, I want to write with him. He's in with Jelly Roll. So then you start to get into bigger rooms. And then we'll get you with him to write for Jelly Roll if you can get him in the room to write for Lainey Wilson. And then it's almost like trading horses. And that's how our creative community works. You try to level up is what we call it, or get in bigger rooms is what we call it.
Matt?
You have said a bunch of times like you love to win and hate to lose, and you've got this big like sports background too. How do you like balance having such like a strong competitive attitude in a business that is where like relationships are like the most important thing?
That's a really good question. I'm really probably a softie at heart. Maybe that's the pole vaulter in me coming out. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's all about relationships. The competitiveness, I try to keep at bay. But it makes me a better business person, but I'm probably a true creative at heart. I just came from the white collar side of town, trapped in a songwriter's body.
Huh. Anything else? One more.
How do you recover from losing when you do lose?
Go back to work.
Yeah. Get back on the effing
I
horse.
mean, back first thing in the morning. You'll try to learn a lesson from it. Go back and look at what could I have done differently. And sometimes things are out of your control. I think my best example, Whiskey in My Water, was sitting at number 2. And the radio promotion person from the label called me as a songwriter and said, hey, can you give us a couple grand? We've got a deal. We can work with a radio station down in Florida that we think can get enough spins right before the chart closes at midnight to go number 1. I was like, I'm not going to give you $2 grand for that. No thanks. And then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? If I wake up in a week and that song didn't go number 1 and I didn't do everything I could in my power, I'll never forgive myself. So I wrote him a check and it went number 1 by 1 spin.
Wow.
True story. I have no idea what they did. There could have been some pot brownies involved.
I was going to say pot brownies, cocaine.
I didn't have anything to do with it. I just wrote a check. But that's part of the creative part, or my competitive part. It was like, if I didn't do that, I probably never would have forgiven myself. And if I did and I still lost, then that's okay.
Yeah.
Some things are out of your control.
So the last question I always ask everybody is, you're sitting with younger versions of you. If you could go back in time and offer yourself a piece of advice that would have shortcut maybe something that you had to learn the harder way, if you could advise yourself on what to do to move yourself forward, what would that be?
Probably slow down and not be as competitive. I feel like I'm always trying to get ahead, and enjoy it like it's gonna come. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna ever make enough money, and I would slow down and enjoy it because it goes by really quick, which sounds super cliche. I don't know. I feel like I've kind of left it all on the field, so to speak. I've worked really hard for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm done yet.
I was going to say, I don't think you're done yet.
It's stay in the creative as long as you can, if that's what you love.
Yeah. Because
I kind of feel like once you get out of it, it's really hard to get back in it. Yeah. That's about all I've got on. That's a hard one. What's yours?
Oh man, mine would be trust myself more.
That's a good one. I go back to that a lot. Like, I think I was such a good pole vaulter because you don't have anybody else to blame it on. Like, when you fail, it's
all you.
It's not the quarterback's fault. It's not the point guard's fault. It's your fault. And I think in that scenario, like, I should probably bet on myself more.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to lose.
Well, and on that note,
Yeah.
really, thank you so much for coming and talking to these guys.
Thanks for having me.
Okay to publish your email to them?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool.
Happy to help.